Hello, friends. I'm your host Shashi with you all on Women Dialogues to create more voice for women and by women. And today's our guest is connecting with us from Romania, Ionela. She is very famous and very good as a country manager of one company and does a lot of marketing related work, a lot of product related work. We will know about her work, we will know about her journey, and we will know about her international experiences as she has worked and lived in many different countries as well. So, Yunela, welcome on Women Dialogues Global Talk Show.
Thank you very much, Shashi. I hope I pronounced correctly your name. So thank you very much, and it's a real honor, and I'm very happy that you contacted me and you invited me to take part of your project. I think it's amazing that you have this beautiful goal that you invite all kind of women, powerful women, even though I don't see myself such a powerful woman and such a famous one, but I thank you very much for the description that you did. And yes, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. So thank you again.
Thanks, Yonela, for such a beautiful appreciation. I really appreciate it, and it's a really great honor for us to be with you today. Let's just start talking about, as we always try to, share our speakers' life journey, career journey, and their movements to inspire and to motivate our listeners and audience who are listening and watching us, just to give them sense how, as individual, what we are doing, how as an individual what we have done in our life, maybe something wrong or something right, and those experiences can be helpful for our audience to maybe understand better in their life, take a right step, right path to grow and develop in their life. So let's just start talking about your early life journey and how it all started, where you grew up, what kind of things you had in your early life. Please share with us.
Yes, so the story, so let's say my story started in a small village, which was in the south of Romania. I grew up with my parents, my grandparents, and my brother as well. So at that time, I remember actually that I was in love with the summer nights. Actually, I'm in love with the summer nights as well now. And I really liked staring at the stars and staring at the moon like every summer night. And I was actually asking myself, what if I would see the stars from another land, or I would see those stars and the moon from another country? And I don't know, actually now while I was an adult, I was thinking, how did I have this kind of dream, and why did I ask myself those kind of questions? And then I realized that probably I got some influence from my teachers. This is just my guess now as an adult. While I was in school, I had two amazing teachers, one a geography teacher and one French teacher. And I remember now that this geography teacher, he was very passionate about his classes, and then he came at some point at the class with this huge map of the world, and I think I asked myself at that time, what if one day I would be able to study or to even live in one of those countries, because the world seems so big. So I think that it came, some influence came from him, because now, even now, when I meet him, I'm telling that, you know, I went to Gibraltar in 2019 because you presented Gibraltar, such a nice place, that at some point it really became my dream. So I think that it did have an impact on me wanting to visit some other places. And then the other teacher was my French teacher, who was as well a passionate human being. She was very positive and she was very optimistic, and she really loved her job. she transmitted me this love for French, and I was not bad at French at that time. So I think that this is how my at some point my dream shaped, I think, into my mind, that what if I would go and study in France, or I would have this opportunity to go there. I think that at that time, when I was a kid, it was just at the dream level, because nobody from my family went to study abroad. So I was just dreaming and telling everyone it would be cool to go one day to study in France. I think I would like to do that. But then in real life, I was saying, I'm not sure, because nobody from my family did it. But then life happened, and I went to a university with teaching, with teaching in French. So I have studied in Bucharest at the university, where all my business studies were in French. And at the end of my bachelor studies, I got this opportunity to have this Erasmus scholarship. So I got this Erasmus scholarship. I applied for it, and then I was accepted to it. And I couldn't believe it, that I was accepted to this scholarship, and I was very close to go to France. And this was my dream from childhood, to go to France to study there. So I think this was this moment, actually, when I got accepted to study in this French university, was my moment, this aha moment, you know, when you have this moment like, wow, you will do it, you will go and study there. It's amazing. And I remember as well that before going there, I had a crisis. I think it was 2 weeks before leaving. I was already preparing my baggage, my luggage and everything. And I had a crisis, and I was telling my mom, you know what, I'm not going there. I don't want to go there on my own. I don't want to be there alone in a country where I know nobody and where I have never been. Of course, I knew French, and it shouldn't have been a problem, because I knew French. It was easy to ask people for help. And then my mom said, of course you will go. So she was, I think that she was the one who pushed me, like those 2 weeks before my journey. She was the one who said, no, you took a decision. You are going to fulfill this dream, because this is your dream. So you are going to go there, even if you are afraid. So this was I remember that it was a huge crisis. I started crying, and then I started saying that no, I don't want to do it. And then in the end I went, and I have to admit that it was one of the best experiences of all my lifetime. I think it was one of the best gifts that life gave me, because of course, it was my dream from childhood, but also it was the first time when I went abroad for studying, and it really taught me to be independent, and it showed me that hey, you can do whatever you want. You see, you can do things that you have never done, and you can be in a country where you know nobody, and you have no idea how things work in that specific country. And here you are. I mean, you are able to do it. So it has been amazing. I have to admit that this was one of the biggest gifts that I received. And then life happened again, and I got the idea that I could go and do a master in Finland. And this was not in my dream. This was not part of my dream, but it just happened. So I went, while I was already in France, I was thinking, what if I could apply for a master in Finland? But then I admit that even though I loved my geography teacher and I loved this map with the world and all those countries, I didn't know that much about Finland. I actually knew quite little. I don't know. I knew that there was the country of 1,000 lakes, because this is the first thing that we learn at school, that there is Santa, that there is Lapland. I knew that they have the best education system in the world, but not that much. And I actually I applied for this master program in Finland. It was in Turku in Finland. I applied the first time and I got rejected. So I remember that I was so disappointed because there was a lot of effort behind. I had to pass this TOEFL exam. And then I missed the deadline, which was in Bucharest, and I had to go by train 8 hours in another city to pass that exam because I missed it. I missed the deadline in Bucharest. So I went there and I passed the exam as well, this TOEFL exam. And then when I applied the second time, I was accepted to this master in Finland. And I also have to say that this was the second best gift of my life as well, because this was not in my plans. This was not something that I was dreaming. But when I was reading this paper that I received from the university, and I saw there that you have been accepted to the university in Finland, I was just shocked, or not really shocked, but I couldn't believe that, wow, I'm going to study in a Nordic country. Can you believe that this would be me studying in a Nordic country? So it has been a beautiful journey, actually. And through this time, I think I have learned to really enjoy those small victories, you know? Because even though probably doesn't seem something, wow, yeah, okay, you went to study in France, you got this scholarship, then you got this master in Finland. It doesn't seem something amazing, but for me, it was like small victories and small steps toward building myself, I think. So yes, I was accepted to this master program. It was amazing as well, because it really helped me to grow as a human being as well. And then I ended up working in this Finnish company, which has some business in Romania. And yes, now it comes again, my dream, because when I moved to Finland, I was thinking, I moved to Finland, I'm there to study, but then I would also like to work in a company which has something to do with Romania, because I wanted to be the bridge between Romania and Finland. So I wanted to know the Finnish culture, but I also wanted to keep in touch with my Romanian culture, so that it's so close to my heart. I didn't really want to get this distance because I was in Finland. Yes, this is what I'm doing it. So I think that life really gifted me with beautiful presents, if this is how I like to call them. But I have to admit that it was not always easy. I had my crisis as well.
So Ionela, you shared about your initial childhood dream, your journey, how you find that seeing stars from one land and you want to see the stars from another land, and just want to gain that experience, what it looks like. Is it these stars look same or different, and being on different land. And I think as you shared and you relate this very, as an innocent child dream, and how this childhood dream can relate your further journey and career journey. You shared it very beautifully. So when we are talking about it, you shared about it was first time in your family somebody was going abroad to get education, and you had a moment to feel fear. Even you had dream, and you was having dream, and you did every possible effort for that, but at the end moment you was feeling that fear. What do you think, how as a women, when we talk about this fear and this dream thing? And I know in your life your mother played a role, who pushed you to realize that it was your dream and you was working so long for that, and now it's time to make it real, or realize and make it realize this is now your dream is going to come true. How you find this fear and women? work, because we all have dream, we all have women, but when we talk about this fear, I think it's very important which you bring in your experiences. And many time I think we all have potential, we all have wisdom, we all have education, and in many cases I found this fear plays a very negative role in the women's growth and women's, in the progress, how one can overcome.
Yes, yes, actually, this is a this is a really good point, and I have felt this fear inside of me several times during my lifetime. But
Right.
I also think I also think that I got lucky because I was surrounded, I think, by powerful women. This is how I like to call them, because in my family I have I have two of my aunts. They are very independent ones, so they have done I have one of them, she is a doctor, and the other one, she's a nurse. So they both of they don't relate to each other, so there is not really connection because they are from different sides of the family. But
Right.
both of them, they inspired me, because I have seen in them that it's possible to follow your dreams, and it's possible to do things even though you are afraid. If I think of mechanism that I use to overcome this fear, actually it's I ask myself I ask myself a question. Okay, what are you going to lose if you are going to do this thing? So this is the most important thing that I ask. Like, what are you going to lose? Are you going to lose something if you try this? Because then when I realized that actually I should give it a try, because I'm not going to lose anything. The only, and what I have seen during my lifetime is that when I went out of my comfort zone, because actually I think here is the key to overcome this fear that we as women feel, that you have to go out of your comfort zone, and you need to have this courage to do what you want. And then another lesson probably which actually helped me was to put less pressure on myself as well, because this fear is also related with putting pressure on ourselves, and this is something that I have felt during my lifetime as well. I always wanted to be perfect. I wanted to do things in a perfect way. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to I wanted to to have beautiful and the best results ever. And because of that, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And then when you put a lot of pressure on yourself, then you start having all kind of anxieties, all kind of fears. Oh my God, what if this result is not the best one? What if I will fail? And I think also that it's good to understand that fear also, we associate it with failure. I think this is how I associated it. I felt fear because I was afraid to make a mistake. And then when you are afraid to make a mistake, then you feel this fear. Oh no, I'm not going to do it, because then what if this would be a mistake? Right. So this is like those two things I have learned. I ask myself, what are you going to lose if you are going to do this thing? And then if you really think more deeply, you will realize that actually you have nothing to lose. There is absolutely nothing that you can lose if you are trying. At least you are trying, and then it's better to try something than to stay with the regret. I should have done it, but then I didn't do it. And then the second thing is like, I don't put pressure on myself anymore. I just say, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm not going to judge myself that much. I'm not going to be that critical with myself. And then I'm just going to do it. And probably also it's important to take action, because you need to make this step forward. You need to take this step forward and get out of your comfort zone. And I think that for us women, because we grow up especially in the business world as well, we grow up in this environment which is full of men. And then especially I think also here in our culture, in Romanian culture, I think that we grow up with this mindset that, well, you need to be a good daughter, you need to be a good wife, you need to be a good woman. But then it's like, what about me? I mean, I want to be me, I want to be happy, and then I want to do what I want, and to really see who I am. So I think that it does help a lot to have around you as well these powerful women who you can see their example. You can see that there were a lot of women who actually succeeded on their own, and who are actually powerful, and who actually made it, and they made the impossible possible. So surround ourselves with these women. I think it does help a lot to also overcome the fear.
Yeah, that's so true. And you really shared very well about your own experiences and steps, how one can implement in their own life. One thing, just always think what you're really going to lose. The second, find yourself as maybe out of getting out of comfort zone, or maybe if I reframe like that, or the third is take step forward. It's important to take action, as it's always count as experience, even if it's positive or negative, but you will never regret about your these things. So Ionela, when we are talking about your experiences, your journey, you have as you shared, you was having dreams, and you were preparing in some sort of way, learning a language about French, and then having a dream to move to France. And you was having that some sort of way in your conscious that I know French. I can, even if I need help, I can look for help by using my language skills. How you find it is important to prepare if someone is following some dream in same way language is important, or they should learn, or they should prepare ahead if they are looking something similar, like getting experience or studying or moving to different country? What way you found it was helpful for you, since as you were earlier already the French, you was well, I can say maybe well enough to level of conversation, or intermediate or advanced, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I can I can speak quite
that time when you moved, that time maybe he was already advanced or intermediate, but how it played an important role, and how you see if it played an important role, what way you would like to advise if somebody is looking some similar steps in their life.
Yes, I think to reply to your question, it was more or less advanced level at that time, but I have to admit that there was a lot of hard work behind. You can never know what happens behind the curtains, but there was a lot of hard work. And I remember that I started with French already from primary school, and then I took as well some supplementary hours with a girl. It was not with a teacher. Actually, it was with a girl who was probably 5 years older than me, but who was very passionate about French as well. So it was there was a lot of hard work. And I think this is actually one of the keys as well to really get there. And also what helped me, it was a lot of discipline, because I knew that, okay, I'm going to have some time reserved for my French studies. So I'm going to spend some hours every day in order to really learn the language. What else did help me as well? Yes, something which is funny, which probably people find a little bit weird when I tell about that, is that I used to talk in front of the mirror in this foreign language. So this is actually what I do with all my foreign languages. I was just
when Romanian Ionela is talking to another French Ionela, if I say like that, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, this is what I do. It's like I stay and I practice in front of the mirror every foreign language that I want to learn. And it might seem a bit weird, but it does help.
It's a wonderful technique. Yeah.
It does help. It does help a lot. And this is what helped me actually. And this is how it helped me with French. And I have to say that this is what helped me with Spanish as well, because I never studied Spanish. I was just watching this silly soap operas, but then because I watched them, I was able to learn the language, and then I use the language and practicing in front of the mirror as well. So yes, it helps. So discipline and really hard work, I would say, to learn the language. And as well, I think it's good to again get out of your comfort zone and find those kind of places or activities that involve learning that language. Because I remember that I was part of all kind of activities which involved or competitions which were related to France, and I was watching TV as well. And then yeah, I think that this is what helps for me. And of course, one learning actually was that you need to ask for help. You need to ask for help when you don't understand when you don't understand something. And this is especially with the foreign language. And if you want to be able to study, let's say, in a foreign country, because then you need to ask for help from those people who already did it, and from those people who has already been there. So this is what I have done as well. So I was trying to contact people who were already in France or who already studied there before. And you will be actually surprised that people will be willing to help you. So definitely this is something that it's good to do as well. But yeah, I would say that hard work, just study. This is what I have done. I just studied and watched TV in French, and then I surrounded myself with those people who can help me.
Right. Yeah, these are very beautiful techniques when somebody is looking to get some maybe foreign education in different languages. So this, a part of that, when I asked you, Ionela, about the being there and having the real day-to-day life conversation, your studies, what kind of challenges one should be ready? If we know from your side, you did best, you prepared yourself best, but when you have day-to-day, whether it is you are going to get a grocery or you are talking to your friend or you're studying in that particular language, what kind of challenges one should be ready? Because can be sometimes depressing.
Well, yes, there were challenges as well, I have to admit. I remember that actually when I was studying in France, I felt at some point alone, because not because I was alone. I made a lot of friends there because we were with people from like different countries, and we had a lot of fun as well. But probably you do at some point, you have this sensation that probably I do miss my country, or I do miss talking with people who speak the same language as myself. But this is one challenge that you can overcome, that I think happens to all the persons who live abroad, that you start missing your own country, and you start believing that, oh, but maybe it would have been better there. Oh, I really wish to speak my own language. But then I think that this happens, and it's very normal to happen as well. You shouldn't panic because of that. And yes, I had moments when I felt alone, but I think I overcame them. I don't know. I think it was just I started doing activities, and I started being involved in all kind of other activities, and this was good. And another challenge that I also saw was it was a little bit as well difficult to really get to know French people, to really like adapt there, because sometimes I'm talking now from my personal experience. I don't know if this was this applied to other people as well, but while I was there, I found myself in the situation when some of my colleagues, they just didn't really want, for example, to have lunch with me, or because in general, like the Erasmus people, they are just in, oh, they're Erasmus, they don't come here for study, they just come here for fun. So it was this kind of attitude, you know, that I don't know if I really want to be friends with those people. Of course, I was quite young, we were like in our 20s, so people in our 20s are not that wise, let's call it this way. So this was actually, for me at that time, I remember that it was quite challenging, because I felt that something is wrong with me. Why those people don't really want to have lunch with me or to talk even more to me? Because for me, like this connection and relationships and talking with people, having this kind of connection, knowing the other person in front of me, this is really important. And I was just curious. In general, I am a curious person. So I was really curious to find out more about themselves, like genuinely interested in knowing, okay, what are your let's say, like, what are your habits, what do you usually do, so how are the things going here, like I would have liked them to tell me more about that. And this didn't happen, so I found myself frustrated in times, but then sometimes, but then when it came to when it come to like doing grocery, it was very fun. I still remember that person from the grocery store who was telling me every day bonjour and do you need something else. She was very nice person, she was smiling all the time, asking me all the time if I need something more. So this is a very nice this is a very nice. And no, I didn't have any problems with talking with people, for example, in the supermarkets. I remember that I even talked with people when I was lost on the streets. I talked with some random person. Hey, I'm lost now. Can you please help me? And there were really like amazing people who really wanted to help me. So when it comes to this kind of interactions, I didn't really feel that I had some struggles. But then also, what other challenge? I felt at some point also as a woman, actually, as a girl who was in her 20s, I didn't feel very safe, for example, to go out very late in the street. Because we already knew there were some areas, for example, which were not very safe. Then I was like avoiding those areas which were not that safe. So this was another challenge. Like this is another challenge as a woman, that probably you have moments when you don't feel safe, because there would be sometimes there would be some person who is coming to randomly talk to you, or some weird person. And actually this happened as well in the street. So this is another challenge.
So when we are talking about all your international experiences and giving little insight to our audience, how they can prepare in their life if they are having some kind of dream or passion to explore new places, you further move ahead all the way new country again, Finland, where even you were not having any previous preparation in terms of language or any other idea, as you said earlier. So do you find all these experiences living in France and then further moving ahead to Finland made you well prepared or strong enough to all the way start from zero? Because I think it will be called zero, because if you are not having any previous language knowledge, in terms of language preparation I'm talking about, how you find that? And if somebody is having similar kind of situation, what way, maybe you can share how you overcome all those situation or challenges from anything to get even settled there, almost like as getting job and everything.
Yes, that's very good point. And you know, from all my experience, I can just advise everyone that if you ever have this opportunity to go and study or to even live abroad, just take it. I think it's amazing, being the fact that it really helped me several ways. First of all, I feel that I'm stronger because when I put myself in different situations that I have never encountered before, it really made me realize that first of all, it increased my confidence. my self-confidence, and it really showed me that, hey, look, this is possible. I mean, you can do everything you want because you have gone through so many things already. You have lived in France, and then you have lived in Finland, and every time you started from zero.
Right.
So if you were able to do those things, it means that you are able to do even more things. So definitely it strengthens your confidence in your self-confidence, but in the same time, yeah, I think that you can also relate to that because you also have quite the international experience.
Yeah, please.
And then I think also that it helps you discover yourself. So this has been actually the huge, let's say, achievement for me, because it really helped me seeing myself and really knowing myself. And also, I think it helped me as well build like better relationships with people in general, because when I was for example, when I lived here, like only in Romania, I was, for example, afraid of asking questions. I was afraid of asking questions, and and I was not aware of that. And when you are abroad, you don't have any other choice. You have to ask questions. You need to go to people to help you because there is no other choice. There are a lot of things that you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to go, and you have to put yourself in out there, and you need to reach to people and ask those people for help. Because here, while I was in Romania, I think that I was quite afraid of asking questions, and then I realized that it was because of the environment in which I grew up. This is something that was came back from childhood. For example, in school, I had those some teachers, not all of them. I had some teachers that were not very willing to help you. For example, when you asked, okay, sorry, can you please repeat, because this is something that I did not understand. And then some of them, they just said, well, I already told you once, so you should have paid attention. So why didn't you pay attention? So you see, I grew up with this kind of mindset that, oh, I shouldn't ask questions because anyway, they will not listen to me or they will not help me. But then when you are abroad, you find yourself in the situation that, okay, now you need to ask someone for help, and let's do it. So this is something that I have learned about myself as well, and that improved my life, I have to say, because then I got the opportunity to really meet people who really helped me and who are like extraordinary. And what else I wanted to add something else as well about this experience. Yes, it improved my relationship, in the sense that when you are abroad, you need to learn to communicate better. You need to learn to communicate better, because even though you first of all, you don't speak the same language, and there would be always differences in the language that you speak. So you always have to force yourself to really, like, how can I put it, to say what you want, to say what you need, to express your feelings, but in a transparent way and in an honest way as well. So this is something that like being abroad also teaches you. It teaches you to be a better communicator, because you don't have any other choice. In order to understand, you have this common language. So in order to understand the other person better, you have to also learn how to express better yourself and how to tell what you need. So in this sense, it was a very nice discovery of myself. And I think this is probably the best thing that could happen for me, because for me it's very important, and I think for every human being it's really important to know who you are, and to really like to try to be your best version every day with every experience. So I definitely advise everyone who has this opportunity to really take it, to have courage to take it, because it, of course, it has challenges as well. You will have crises. I remember that when I had to write my master thesis, or when I didn't find a job that easily, I was having this crying, and then having doubts about myself. So it's normal to have this kind of things as well, but it's worth it. It's worth all the other benefits are really worth it.
Right. And I think the way you said about we become better in our way to communicate in a more honest and transparent way, because uh, learning new language and trying to express your best when you are communicating is very important, especially when you are new to language, you are new to country, you are new to people. Uh, that can be all the way reflects yourself in complete way of it. You use your body language, you use your verbal language in all the way, and that can give the impression about what you are really looking for, what you are really asking for, and what you are really trying to help, or maybe whatever reason you are talking for. So that's very good share, about your experiences, how one can get prepared themselves in a better way when they are looking forward for whether moving ahead in their in terms of career, job, study. So I really appreciate that way you shared all your experiences in such an honest way. One thing I would like to ask, as all those experiences made you strong and found as yourself who you are, what way you define at this moment, if may I ask about your leadership qualities?
Well, let me think about that. That's a very tough question, actually. I hope that one day I would be a good leader, because now I'm still at the beginning of my journey. I cannot say that I have that much experience, but I really hope that one day I will be able to lead at least my team, to listen to my team, to really help those people, because this is actually what I am trying to improve at myself. And for this present moment, I would say that I guide myself through. I guide. I don't know if I guide. Yeah, I could say that. I could say that I guide myself, and I like helping people. I like listening to them, and also I think it's really important to to appreciate more the relationship, for example, than to be right. So this is what I try to do as well, and I think it's important for a leader. It's more important to value at least the relationship, the human being which is in front of you, to be empathic with the person. This is what I try to do as well, to really put myself in the shoes of the person who is in front of me. And this is probably a quality that I see as a big quality as a leader. So I'm trying now to improve those qualities. I'm trying to be a better listener, and I'm trying to be empathic. I try to help people, and I just hope that one day in the future I could probably inspire one person, or probably one person will find something interesting in my story, because I think this is what a leader should also do. Through my examples, someone would find something that yeah, probably she said something meaningful. Let's see if it will work in my life as well. So yes, this is this is what I try to do now. These I think are my skills which I would like to improve as well, and I hope that one day in the future I might be able to even add more.
Wonderful. And when we are talking about all our, as a women, our experiences, getting more empowered by, coming out of our comfort zone, having these kind of leadership style, how you find having a platform or as a talk show like this Women Dialogue, which covered globally, and almost we have covered more than 50 plus countries. How you find it's playing important role?
I think it's really a great initiative, and I think it's important for us as women to sometimes have models. And nowadays, because the digitalization, it's really quite easy as well, and the internet is used by almost everyone. So I think that this platform, it's really a great way, and it's an easy way for women to get inspiration, to get motivation, to really check that it's possible. And I think it's a very good idea that you are doing this kind of work, because then through all these examples that women give, you make the impossible seem possible. And then I definitely recommend, well, not recommend, but this is just my personal opinion, that you should continue with this kind of platform. These are those kind of platforms and those kind of talks that I like, for example, to follow, and I get inspiration from people and from women in general who has succeeded, because we need those kind of models sometimes. And I also think that during our lifetime, even though our models will change during the lifetime, of course, someone during your childhood, then a different person in the high school, then someone else during the studies, and then during your adult life as well. It's very good to have those people around you that inspires you, and now you can do it. So I think it's a very good idea that you are doing it. And I think that people, I myself feel very lucky to be able to listen to all these inspiring women that you invited. So I'm really wishing you good luck with that. And if there is something that I can do to help you, I'm very willing to do that.
Thank you, Ionela, for such your kind word and generosity, and having such kind of strong faith in these dialogues, how these are important for not only for as a speaker for us as a women dialogue, but for all of us. At any moment of time, we have these role models who are sharing their life journey, who are sharing their life experiences. As you said, just to have that feeling, maybe we can impact at least one person in our life by creating those maybe positive moments, a positive motivation for their life. So thanks a lot, Ionela, for having such faith. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners who are watching and listening us. As you can hear in our talk show, we bring our speaker from different diversity, background, cultures, sectors, segment, and all the way we try to bring these things just because to give you the exposure, give you the real connection with those speakers. You are not alone in this journey in your life. If you are stuck, we are here to help you. So as I always say, I put description of my speakers in the description as well. If you are finding these speakers are promoting you, inspiring you and motivating you, and you can relate your life journey some point of somewhere, you can contact with them as well. See you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.